Hello, my name is Adriana Marino, and I'm host and producer of Bend into Balance, powered by The Source. Today, I'm really thrilled to be accompanied by Dr. Andy Sabatier, Doctor of Physical Therapy and founder and director of Academy West Performance Academy. I had the pleasure of seeing Andy give the final talk in the recent TED Talks that we had in town, where he gave an incredible finish to this full day of inspiring talks about breathing. Andy, thank you so much for being here. Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Andy Sabatier. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. And as Adriana said, I am the founder of Academy West Breathing Performance here in Bend, Oregon.
Tell us how you got into this space. I understand that you used to work in the ER.
So I was actually the primary physical therapist for the intensive care unit at St. Charles Hospital. So the intensive care unit and the ER, they're sort of opposite sides of the coin. The ER is where people with emergencies come in when they walk in or they're brought in. The intensive care unit is where people end up. It's
Okay.
where the sickest people, the most broken people, the people with the biggest issues that are, of course, intense, that's where they are. So I used to be the physical therapist there. Prior to that, I was a college athlete. I was lucky enough to play lacrosse in college. I was a professional athlete. I was a skier for several years. And even though all that gave me a lot of background, I went off to PT school kind of thinking I'd do one thing and came out doing another. The
Uh-huh.
intensive care unit is not where I thought I would go, but it's what I fell in love with because I think I like meeting people on the worst day of their life.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think it's a unique skill set. But despite all that background, I was breathing dysfunctionally the whole time. I had no idea. This this was just sort of an accident. I was helping my patients take some deep breaths using a little device called their incentive spirometer. For anybody that's ever been in the hospital, it's the little plastic doohickey that you breathe into.
Hmm.
You pull air through it, and it shows you how much air you're breathing. That's why they call it incentive, because you can see visually, oh, I took 1,500 milliliters or 2,000 milliliters. And the goal is always to get people to breathe deeply in the hospital, because most of the stuff that happens with our lungs that's a problem, like pneumonia, happens because gunk, mucus, fluid accumulates in the bottoms of the lungs.
Okay.
So as I'm helping people do this, one of my colleagues nudged me and she said, I don't really know anything about breathing, but I know if you want to learn from Dr. Mary Massery.
Uh-huh.
So Dr. Mary Massery has won every award you can win in physical therapy. She has been combining the clinical aspect and the research aspect of breathing mechanics for 4 decades.
Wow.
She's sort of the godmother of breathing mechanics
Okay.
within physical therapy. So I signed up for a course. The course was called If You Can't Breathe, You Can't Function. Now you have to remember at the time, I am seemingly at the top of my game. I'm really well respected. I am definitely the best PT this ICU has ever had. We've completely revolutionized the way they do things. We're getting our patients on ventilators. We're getting them up and walking. Like we're really doing cutting edge stuff. We
Wow.
lowered the entire length of stay by a whole day in
It's
a year.
incredible.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's all these studies that point to how much better people's lives are when they spend less time in the ICU.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So I really think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I sign up for this course and I fly to Chicago and I arrive and there's about 100 people in the room. I'm one of the only males. It's almost all females. And I'm certainly the only acute care therapist. Everybody else is a pediatric therapist.
Okay.
So there's physical therapists, occupational therapists, and speech therapists.
Hmm.
And I'm right in the front row. And in 10 minutes, I was made aware that I had no idea about any of this
Wow.
because I could see, oh my gosh, I've been breathing dysfunctionally my whole life. And what's worse, I've been coaching the ICU patients to breathe dysfunctionally also in front of everyone on the worst day of their life. So right in front of the PTs, right in front of the respiratory therapists, nurses, doctors, and nobody ever stopped me.
Wow. That must have hit hard.
Oh yeah, because the way dysfunctional breathing is, it harms and hinders every system in the human body.
How is that?
Think of your breathing as less about lungs and more about muscles. The muscles that move your lungs, that's your breathing system. It's every
Mhm.
muscle from your nose all the way to your groin. It's all the structures in the face and the throat, and it's the entire nervous system. when somebody is breathing functionally,
Mm-hmm.
meaning they're breathing efficiently in a certain sequence of these muscles. Diaphragm first, chest follows, shoulders stay still. This is achieved by breathing in the nose.
Okay.
With exhale, they let go and they slow down. What it does is it uses less energy. It achieves big inhales. It inflates the bottoms of the lungs. And it also mechanically pumps everything else. It pumps our blood. It pumps our guts. The muscles of breathing attached to the spine, so they support the spine. And slowing our breathing down regulates our nervous system. So when somebody's breathing functionally, they're helping every aspect of their life.
Okay.
Conversely, if somebody's breathing dysfunctionally, meaning they're using the faster muscles like the chest and the neck and the shoulders, they're breathing in their mouth, they're neglecting their diaphragm, or they're using their belly instead of their diaphragm, which is a different thing. When that's happening, it's using more energy, it's causing smaller inhales to happen, it's messing up all the mechanical pumping of the body, and it's eliminating some of that structural support that we get from these muscles. Plus, it's training the nervous system to be more in a state of fight or flight.
Sure.
So, biologically speaking, every human being feels how they breathe, and they breathe how they feel.
Can you say that again?
Yeah. Biologically speaking, every human being feels how they breathe, and they breathe how they feel. So if I'm breathing dysfunctionally, it's making me feel more anxious. It's making me feel more stressed, more anger, more shame, more guilt, more fear.
Sure.
And if I'm breathing functionally, it's actually reversing those things. It allows me to control my emotional state. So,
But the irony of that, I mean, such a powerful statement, is that most of us are not even conscious of how we're breathing.
correct. One of the funny things, so I gave, you mentioned this TED Talk. This
Yeah.
TED Talk that I gave was the 5 lies we're told about breathing.
Yes.
One of the lies is that we just breathe. We say it all the time, just breathe.
Yeah,
But we're never just breathing. We're always breathing and.
exactly.
Like I'm breathing and sitting, breathing and talking, breathing and thinking, breathing and sleeping.
Eating, yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
But because we are able to breathe without instruction, it often gets neglected until something is really hard.
Okay.
So when we're afraid or when we're challenged, that's when all of a sudden breathing becomes this thing that we really focus on.
Mhm.
But the way somebody breathes consciously, on purpose, trains how they breathe subconsciously.
Okay.
Because the muscles that we're talking about are so different. The diaphragm is the slowest muscle in the system. And the chest and shoulders and neck, they're all much faster.
Mhm.
So if somebody is trying really hard to breathe, use their breathing in one way or another, chances are that they're going to use those faster muscles more because they are faster or easier to recruit.
Sure.
On the other hand, if they know where their diaphragm is, how to feel it when it moves, and how to start training that, it becomes like a system that trains itself.
Mhm.
So I'm in the ICU and I have this realization. And it's really hard to tell anybody. Because what am I going to go up to the respiratory therapist and tell them, oh, you're breathing dysfunctionally, or tell the cardiothoracic surgeon, oh, you're breathing wrong?
Yeah.
No, you can't do that because breathing is exceedingly hard to talk about. It's very personal. It's under all our clothes. We've been doing it our whole lives. I mean, it takes a lot of balls to call somebody a breathing expert because you're a breathing expert. You've been doing it your whole life, just like you said.
Uh-huh.
So to even say something like, oh, you're breathing wrong, I never say that in my life because you're not. You're breathing right. I've seen enough people in the ICU not breathing to see that any kind of breathing is breathing right. And you may be breathing dysfunctionally. You may be breathing in a way that's harming and hindering all these systems. So I have this realization, and I don't really know how to talk about it to anybody, but I start kind of monkeying around with breathing as best I can.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of like wedging it in there when I can, along with my occupational therapist partner, her
Okay.
name's Bridget. She and I would go around through the entire ICU and see all the patients. And oftentimes we're helping them do their PT and their OT together. And then at the end of that, she'd say, okay, now you can do your breathing thing.
Uh-huh.
And that's sort of the problem because that's prioritizing the most important function in life last. So I had this realization.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm a physical therapist. I'm a functional movement expert. What's the most functional movement? It's breathing 20,000 times a day. So maybe that's where I need to start. And the day that I had this realization, I feel like the universe listened to me.
Uh-huh.
It sent a patient. She's 36 years old. She's admitted to the hospital. She's on 5 liters of oxygen,
Wow.
and she's working really hard to breathe. 5 liters is the most amount of oxygen you can really be on outside of the hospital.
Okay.
And she needs a drain in her left lung. She has terminal breast cancer, and she's going to go home on hospice tomorrow, which is so not a PT diagnosis.
Yeah.
PT is about like, make me strong.
Sure.
And hospice is about like, make me comfortable.
Oh, wow. That must have been strong.
She is so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk in this room and I see her chest and her shoulders and her neck and her mouth all firing. She's just gasping to breathe. And I began with breathing first for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
I got her to feel her diaphragm with her hand moving first.
Okay.
We had to do this laying down because when you lay down, it's a little bit easier because there's less gravity involved in breathing.
Uh-huh.
And then when she sat up, it all fell apart. But rather than moving on, I stayed with it patiently, got her diaphragm to move first. Diaphragm's a little bit like a shy little kid.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just overpower a shy kid. You have to like be patient and
Yeah.
encouraging and
Supportive.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we got her diaphragm to move first. And then when she stood up, everything got worse because now there's more gravity and she's having to balance. Your diaphragm actually plays a pretty big role in your posture and your balance.
The diaphragm does?
Absolutely.
Really? Uh-huh.
Yeah, because it's the center of your gravity.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's this muscle that attaches to the lowest ribs. It attaches to the spine and to the sternum. And it's like a dome
Yes.
that when you inhale, it pulls downward.
Right. And exhale, it goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
And exhale kind of moves back up. So most of the lungs are in the bottom and it inflates the bottoms of the lungs. It also sends a signal to the brain that says you're safe. Because if you're breathing deeply and slowly, it's like, oh, I'm not in trouble.
Right.
If I'm breathing fast, it's like there must be a tiger chasing me. So we get her to move this slow moving muscle first, standing. But it's really hard to tell, because she's got this hospital gown on. And hospital gowns are notoriously kind of shapeless.
Yes.
And so I think she's getting it. I mean, I can tell like her shoulders and her chest are starting to relax, but she's still breathing and her effort, her intensity is going down. But because I can't tell, I took a chance and I asked this woman on the worst day of her life to walk with me, a total stranger, into the bathroom and remove her gown in front of the mirror so she could see her body
Uh-huh.
and see her diaphragm moving first. I've never done this before. And I'm totally frightened because I think she's just going to, get upset with me. I mean, it's a pretty big ask.
Sure.
The mirror is consistently the most scary thing for people. I can't tell you how often in my practice people say, I hate looking in the mirror. Imagine what it'll be like on that day, right?
Yeah.
She's got to look past her scars. She's got to look past these drains. She's got to look past all the muscle wasting, this unrecognizable version of herself.
Sure.
And see her diaphragm moving first. Because when she can see it and feel it at the same time, it trains her brain.
Sure.
Because we're visual. Most of our brain has something to do with our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just helped her back to bed. Because I'm not going to make her go walk around the halls, right? This is a hospice situation. Just make me comfortable.
Yeah.
When I came back the next day before she discharged, she said, Andy, what we did yesterday has made me feel better than anything has in the last 5 years.
Wow.
I want to do this for the rest of my life. So I started Academy West Breathing Performance that afternoon so I could legally see her in her home.
Okay.
Because this is 2019 and all I'm trying to do is just help her build this rocket ship while she's flying it.
Sure.
So that's what I do. I go to her home like every week or two.
Uh-huh.
And we just start with breathing first. We get that diaphragm firing first and then add more things. So breathing and get out of bed, breathing and walk around.
Yeah.
Anytime that her breathing became dysfunctional where she lost her diaphragm moving first, we would back off, focus on her diaphragm, get it moving first, and then begin building the activities. And I just watched this very brave woman transform over the next few weeks and months. The oxygen that she's requiring, that 5 liters, is getting turned down.
That's amazing.
Her heart rate's getting better. Her blood pressure's getting better. What she's doing is she's building this relationship with carbon dioxide, which is what we exhale.
Yes.
she's keeping more of it in her body and she's tolerating it better, which opens all her blood vessels. It kind of helps get oxygen where it needs to go, which is into her muscles.
Mm-hmm.
She's also using less energy and taking bigger inhales. On average, our patients tend to increase their max total inhale by about 40%, while decreasing the amount of energy used by about 50%. I don't, what would you do if you could take twice as big an inhale with half the energy? I know I'd be able to do a lot.
Yeah.
What she's able to do is she's able to move more. So she can do things like she's beginning to get out of bed on her own. She can go up and down the stairs, and she can even go outside and like balance herself as she moves, because these same muscles that we're training,
Uh-huh.
diaphragm, transverse abdominis, they're the muscles that support her spine
Sure.
and her balance.
And all of this she wasn't doing prior.
No, she was,
Wow.
I mean, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain the intensity of the hospital, but think of it this way. Hospice means it's too much work for me to breathe and I'd rather not be alive. That's where she was when I walked in that room. And I'm just watching this unwind. We got to the point that she could go outside, sit on her front porch, and watch her kid ride his bike without oxygen,
That's amazing.
and think of that like feel how we breathe. This is an emotional experience.
Of
Dysfunctional
course.
breathing, shame, guilt, fear. Shame, I'm not who I used to be or
Yeah.
who I could be.
Uh-huh.
Guilt that I should know how to fix this and I don't. Just
Mhm.
breathing. And fear that it's getting worse, not getting better. That's where I met her.
Yeah.
And now she's experiencing purpose and joy
And hope.
and love.
Yeah.
You can't feel those things when there's a tiger chasing your brain all the time.
Right.
So these tools that help her improve her quality of life, 7 months later, they improve the quality of the end of her life
Okay.
because she didn't die afraid.
Yeah.
She died calm.
Hmm.
And I saw her a couple days before. And you have to understand, as a PT, this is not what we do. We don't see people on hospice.
Sure.
They're opposite goals.
Yeah, because when I think of physical therapy, I think of function and movement and mobility, not someone in their final days of their life.
So I went to see her at the hospice
Uh-huh.
where she is.
Yeah.
And I really was nervous because I didn't know what I was doing there.
Hmm.
I know that she wants this appointment, and here I am. And I walk into her room, and she's just sitting there calmly.
Yeah.
She's just got some oxygen on for sure.
Hmm.
But if you looked at her, her shoulders, her neck, not moving at all. Her diaphragm, which is at the base of the rib cage, is moving first. Her chest is moving after that, right? Diaphragm first, chest follows. And she's just serene, just calm. And what I didn't realize at the time, but what I've been able to gain perspective on is it's like she's talking to me in a nonverbal language. That's what breathing is. Breathing is this nonverbal language that can speak to my own nervous system or to the nervous system of somebody else.
Yes.
And so she's sitting there, days from her death, co-regulating me.
That's powerful.
Oh my gosh. I'm still processing what that is, but that's what we do in our practice. We've seen about 12,000 patients. Well, 12,000 patient encounters since.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Individual patient
Mhm.
encounters where we're going to start with breathing first and we're going to focus on this one thing.
Yeah.
The total number of patients is about 6,000.
Okay.
And every single one of these people has been able to gain an understanding of what their breathing system is and how to use it differently. And those applications are really wide, right? Because this is one patient going home on hospice,
Right.
but it's just as applicable to the professional athlete who's trying to get an edge,
Yeah.
the person who's trying to get sleep, the person who's dealing with chronic gut issues or panic attacks. Like you name it, it has something to do with how you breathe 20,000 times a day.
Why is that? That's very interesting to me. Like how it can encompass so many different conditions.
Because your breathing system runs your nervous system. Like name one thing in your life that isn't affected by stress. Pretty hard, right? Everything in our life has something to do with this experience of being human.
Yeah.
And to be a human is to suffer. that's what we're here to do. I hate to say that, but we're going to suffer. We're born into this world. We're going to die. We're going to experience pain. We're going to experience loss. We're going to experience all kinds of complex emotions. And our breathing dictates how we suffer. So whether that's the suffering like we're talking about with this patient who's going home on hospice, or just the suffering that you have when you go for a run, when you change how you breathe,
Mm-hmm.
it changes what emotions you experience, what your guts do, what your posture's doing, what your balance is doing. And we really are able to transform things into a different experience. So, I'll use an example of kind of the other end. Okay. This is pretty early on. Um, I met a wonderful physical therapist who was orienting to the ICU. And I'm teaching him kind of the ropes. And he's a pretty high level runner. He's been a runner in college. He's, run a bunch of marathons. And he says to me, he's like, I really want to run an ultra marathon. I want to run 100 miles.
Wow.
But he's limited by fatigue, pain, digestive issues, and negative thoughts. So we look at his breathing. And the way we evaluate people's breathing is we video it, and then we teach them about it, and then we show them their breathing. And so his was pretty darn dysfunctional. It was chest, it was mouth, it was neck, it was shoulders. The diaphragm was completely backwards. So we flip his breathing. We give him functional breathing. Like, okay, go running with your breathing first. Breathing and running rather than running and breathing.
Got it.
Don't outrun your functional breathing. So he runs breathing in the nose, diaphragm first, chest follows, shoulders stay still. Let go, slow down. And in about 3 weeks, he's running the same distances and speeds, breathing slowly and deeply, mouth shut. About a year later, he runs an ultra marathon. He runs 100 miles with his mouth shut.
Really? That's
Yeah. So
wow.
he's feeling great.
Uh-huh.
So he enters the Oregon 200,
200 miles?
200 miles.
Okay.
So he runs the Oregon 200 and breathes slowly, deeply, functionally the whole time. And, he tells this story. He's like, Andy, when I got near the finish line, I realized I didn't feel like I was suffering.
Yeah.
I felt like I was dancing.
Wow.
Because you breathe how you feel. You feel how you breathe. And he basically just went out and meditated for like 56 hours.
It's amazing.
It's even more amazing when you hear that he beat the entire field by 2 hours.
What? He came in first place?
Mm-hmm. And the next year, he went back and did it again
Uh-huh.
and beat his own time by 3 hours. His name is Dr. Ben Doolam, and he is one of the other physical therapists at Academy West Breathing Performance.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Ben is a great example of what happens if somebody just takes this one thing, their breathing, and prioritizes it and does not relinquish it. For a period of time, yeah, they maybe have to run a little slower,
Uh-huh.
but if they can do that, it starts to build this superpower. Their tolerance for carbon dioxide goes up. The strength of their diaphragm goes up. They get used to breathing functionally instead of going out there and having a panic attack, which that's technical people are doing. When you look out next time you're, if you're driving right now and you listen to this, the next time you go out and see somebody, watch someone running, watch someone at CrossFit, watch somebody doing anything. They're going,
Yeah. The huffing and puffing that.
if they were sitting still, they'd be having a panic attack. But just because they're moving, we think it's normal. We have to practice how we want to feel. Do I want to feel like I'm having a panic attack? Heck no.
Of course not.
The second that somebody starts breathing dysfunctionally, chest, neck, shoulders, mouth, breathing faster, huffing and puffing like that,
Yeah.
it's like a ticking time bomb. Their performance is eventually going to crash. But if somebody can breathe functionally, deeply, slowly, in the nose, diaphragm first, chest follows, shoulders stay still, let go, slow down. They are like a self-perpetuating engine that just feels better and better and better. And that stress of exercise, if somebody can do that while they walk or while they work out or while they run, it actually prepares them for the other aspects of their life, like stress in their relationship, stress of loss,
Yeah.
stress of sleep. Everything is tied into breathing.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon for a patient to come into our office where they'll talk about like this chronic cough they've had or this back pain or, I feel like I can't take a deep breath. It's like one of the most common things people say. and I'll start peeling the layers back. We ask a lot of questions. We ask about their breathing, but we ask about more of their life.
Sure.
Kind of understand. Okay, when did this begin? Oh, this happened when my husband died. So you've been dealing with this chronic breathing issue for 4 years, and it started right when your husband died? Yeah, I guess nobody really put that together. And so as soon as we start talking about that, what happens? They get very emotional because it's just the grief that they literally haven't been able to move through.
Right.
And as soon as they start thinking about their husband, their breathing gets tight and they start getting more symptomatic. And of course, when somebody's breathing gets tight, they start getting more air hungry, which makes them more panicky, and they
Yeah.
start to feel like a tiger chasing them.
They're breathing how they feel.
Exactly. But when we can change that and say, okay, let's think about that. Let's get your breathing to be functional, which takes some training. But what happens is a month later, 2 months later, further down the line in their care, we see people about every 1 to 2 weeks and then
Okay.
spread it out. So let's say we've seen them for like 4 appointments and it's 2 months later. And it's okay, now we're going to talk about your husband. And I want you to breathe functionally.
Uh-huh.
And they do that. And sure, they'll cry,
Yeah.
but they're moving through that emotion. They're not
Yeah.
just holding it tight. They're not bottling it up. Like, stress is undefeated. Ask anybody who's dealt with anything chronic. They just bottle all that up. What does that mean? It means gut problems. It means heart problems. It means sleep problems, chronic pain. I mean, this is why people do terrible things to themselves, because they don't want to be a burden on anybody else. They don't want to confront that scary thing. It's too scary to think about the loss.
Yeah.
But if we can look at it and breathe in a way that tells your nervous system, I'm safe.
It's going to be okay.
Exactly, because it is going to be okay.
Yeah.
That is the power of understanding breathing versus breath. Now, I'm a stickler for language,
Yes.
and I really harp on that one thing, breathing versus breath. Because breathing is a movement, right? I've been talking about all these different muscles and how they move and the sequence in which they move. That's breathing, the movement that keeps me alive. Breath
Mm-hmm.
is the smell of my mouth. Breath is the air that moves in and out. We take 20,000 breaths every day, but we are always breathing. So if I can think about it as a movement, it gets me a lot closer to breathing
Got it. Mm-hmm.
and I can't, so in that realm, like, I can't be out of breath. Just the ways we talk about, oh, I'm out of breath. Are you though? Because you're only out of breath once.
When we die.
Yeah, my daughter said that to me the day before the TED Talk.
Oh, really?
She's brilliant. So Gigi says, she's heard me rehearsing this and we're kind of talking these.
Yeah.
My daughter Gigi says, "Hi, you're only out of breath once when you die." I thought, wow, that's brilliant. That's it in the TED Talk. And I think that was the biggest laugh I got through the whole thing. I was like, oh yeah, of course, never out of breath, just the once.
Yeah.
But that is true. We cannot possibly confuse mouth smell with the most important movement of my life. It's the difference between a noun and verb.
Mm-hmm.
And, as soon as I start saying breath, I'm just confusing people.
Sure.
Because even just spelling it, like, try to spell breath and breathe. Right now, if you're listening to this, do you know which one's which? Yeah, one has an E, one doesn't.
Right.
It's really easy to confuse those.
Yeah.
And then you see stickers that say just breath. It's very funny. But if you just stick with the word breathing, you won't misspell it. You won't mistake it. And, sometimes people say, oh yeah, I'm using the breathing. And then I nudge them again. I say, who's breathing? My breathing.
Yeah.
Your breathing. Because frankly, if you're listening to this right now, it's your breathing. Nobody can do it for you. So I want you to understand it. I want you to fall in love with it. I want you to be so enamored with this cool thing, this movement that you're performing, that you begin to hone it like a tool. Because how you breathe on purpose, even just a few inhales and exhales every day, trains how you breathe when you're not thinking about it. So it's not like I'm asking you to do anything extra in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Just take some of those 20,000 inhales and exhales and play the game differently. Play in a way that gives you an advantage.
So any of us who are listening to this podcast could incorporate this in our daily life, like maybe when we're sitting at a traffic light.
So right now, imagine with your hand that you're holding this invisible tennis ball.
Okay.
Put that tennis ball just below your sternum, right That's the middle bone in your chest. So if you ever got like a soccer ball kicked in your stomach when you were a kid and you got the wind knocked out of you, I'm holding up air quotes, wind.
Uh-huh.
This is your breathing. That's your diaphragm. When you put that tennis ball there, now what I want you to do is you're going to take some little tiny dog sniffs, kind of like if you've ever let a dog sniff your face, they sniff differently than humans. They kind of go sniff, 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 like in. And we just do the tiniest little ones possible. And then let go. It's like each one is individual, but they are also additive. Now, I can almost guarantee you, wherever you are, the harder you try, the more your chest moves. So try less. Think shy little muscles. Snip, 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 snip. And let go. And now you can go away from the dog sniff and do a smooth human inhale. As I'm sitting across from Adriana right now, I'm aiming my diaphragm at her forehead. It moves slightly upward. It's really different than belly. Belly's everything down low. Diaphragm is a little bit higher. The more you feel that and see it and use it, the stronger it gets. So all we're doing is just getting that muscle to move first in everything. And what's cool is you can do it anywhere. Like you said,
Yeah.
sitting in your car, sure. But even tonight, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're having a hard time going back to sleep, put your hand right on your diaphragm and focus on it. Now you're being productive.
Sure.
Which, frankly, a lot of people come to our clinic for insomnia and sleep problems.
Really? Is that the number one cause?
Gosh, I don't know what the number one cause is
Yeah.
to sleep problems, but anything that we're doing that involves our nervous system, the main tool that we can access and change is our breathing.
Yeah.
So if I wake up in the middle of the night and I have a tendency to just like sit there and think about all the future past, that keeps me awake. Like, oh, all the stuff I did yesterday. What am I going to do tomorrow? And when am I going to get to sleep? And how long has it been? Instead, if I'm just thinking about my breathing
Sure.
and feeling it, and using it, I have now gotten out of that future past thing. Now I'm sitting there feeling my breathing, which is happening right now.
Yeah.
And I can hear it, which is happening right now.
I would even say that's almost being meditative, like
100%.
being mindful of the present moment.
Now, again, we get into language. Meditation is a word that people use a lot.
Yes.
And for some people, that's totally not a complicated term. That's fine. But where I come from, in the ICU,
That's not an option.
if I walk into your room and you just had a heart attack and I'm like, okay, let's talk about meditation, you're going to tell me to get out.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And same kind of thing, like even the word mindful's a tricky word too.
Okay.
Because like, you know what my mind is? Full. I'm thinking 100,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
And when I hear mindful, it just kind of sounds like mind your manners. So if we can just scrub the language and say like, okay, let's just talk about breathing.
You really want to keep it simple.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Because
that's valid.
picture that same ICU room, right? Person had a heart attack, person had surgery, or person tried to kill themselves and didn't work. These are my patients. If I walk in there and say, I want to talk about your breathing, I'm at least going to get them to say, okay, what about my breathing? I'm a little curious because they know they're doing it.
Yeah.
But if I muddy the language at all, I'm probably going to lose them. And that's really when I began this sort of, at this point, it's like a quest to like crack the language open into a way that's understandable for everybody.
Okay.
I started looking everywhere I could. Who's talking about breathing? How are they talking about it? And everywhere I look, there's confusion. Whether it's confusing diaphragm and belly, it's classic. PTs love to do that. Or it's yoga, where people are using all kinds of pet language and Sanskrit and things like that, which just make it less approachable. All of us have some confusion. But if we pare it down, in the nose, diaphragm first, chest follows, shoulders stay still, let go, slow down. Those 14 words are like the user's manual to the most important action you are performing right now and every day that you're alive. So getting that as the basis and eliminating all the other stuff. This is applicable not just for clinicians or for movement professionals, but anybody.
For sure.
You're a teacher, you're a psychologist, you're doing some kind of physical labor. Like, your breathing's the tool you're using all the time. I got to evaluate a patient this morning who's 15 and has a tracheostomy, which is a little hole in her trachea.
Okay.
Okay. This is like, I wish this on nobody,
Of
but we're
course.
trying to help her get rid of it.
Yeah.
But what we did was spent the first hour educating both parents and the caregivers on their breathing
Oh, wow. Okay.
because they have to support this person.
Yeah.
Their nervous systems need to be,
Regulate.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
regulated. So,
Uh-huh.
what do they say on every airplane you've ever been on? In case of loss of cabin pressure, please put your oxygen mask on first before you help others.
Yes.
Getting people to understand their breathing is getting them to do that. The questions that I ask in our evaluation, I ask a lot of questions. We ask people about their sleep and their bowels and their bladder and their pain and their activity and stress and joy and like all these things. But at the end, I ask two really important questions. I say, do you trust yourself? Do you love yourself? And then they look at me like, what kind of PT is this? But by the end, where I've gotten them to understand what their breathing is and how their diaphragm moves, and then I ask them, okay, put your hand on your body and evaluate your own breathing. They do it. I say, okay, can you feel your diaphragm moving first? And they look at me like, yeah. I say, okay, now do you understand why I ask if you trust yourself? And they say, yep, because this is theirs. I need everyone to understand that it's your breathing. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the more it becomes your own, the better your life gets, pure and simple. And, I've just given this TED Talk and it hasn't been released yet.
Okay.
I don't know where it's going to go, but I hope that it provides me more opportunities to have this conversation
Yeah.
and to get people just thinking differently.
Sure.
Get people thinking from breath to breathing. Get people thinking from belly to diaphragm. Go from, oh, I lost it to, oh no, I'm breathing and it's mine and I own it. I love it. Because I love it. I love this. I love this. This is my job.
Yeah. I can tell.
Oh, more than anything, I'm just really grateful.
Why?
Well, I'm grateful I'm breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Beats not breathing.
For sure.
Um, I'm grateful that each person that shows up to clinic or to our group classes or even purchases an online course, that they trust me enough to go there.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
That's a big ask.
it's a big ask.
Yeah.
Like getting into your breathing is like flipping over all the rocks in your life. It's like getting into it's your whole lived experience shows up in your breathing. It's under our clothes. It's the parts of our body we don't want to talk about. And it is the thing somebody's been doing forever.
Mhm.
So to examine it, it takes bravery. So I'm grateful that people are brave enough to go there. But what I feel is after, 7 years of running this practice, there's finally traction. I'm grateful that people want to talk about that. I think breathing's in the language more than ever.
I'd agree.
Humans are like dying for a new way to manage their stress.
Yes. Mm.
And it is a very stressful place out there. But there's this cool part of your brain. It's called the reticular activating network.
Uh-huh.
It's the part of your brain that looks for the things you want to see. So, if I'm walking around going, oh my God, I suck. I can't catch a break.
Right. Self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing.
I will see that. I will
Right.
see all the ways in which I suck. And yeah, I really can't catch a break. It's rough out there.
Right.
If I tell my brain, I want to buy a red F-150,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start seeing red F-150s everywhere. But if I tell my brain to pay attention to my diaphragm and to start using my breathing, it starts finding opportunities. So it's less about an exercise and more about like a way of being
Yeah.
in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And what it very quickly translates to is, I trust myself. And when you can go around saying that,
Yeah.
you just crack the code. And it gets you pretty fast to, I love myself.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if we could do that as a species, we're going to be okay. I don't know where everything's going, but I know we're better off like that. It's kind of like, I don't know everything about breathing. I know this is better than just breathe. Moving through my life, breathing and
Mm-hmm.
that's the goal.
Yeah. How, Andy, has this adventure into breathing, empowering others, empowered your own life? How has your life, health, wellness been enhanced through this experience? Because I can tell that this is not just your work, it's your vocation, it's your way of being, it's your way of working.
This has allowed me to find peace and healing in my own life. You know, I'm one of those people that is really good at taking care of other people. That's why I went into that profession. I like to overfunction. I just focus on everybody else. When I used to come home from the ICU, I'd just cry. I didn't know why.
Yeah.
It like snuck up on me, but you know,
You're holding a lot of
kids,
space.
yeah.
Yeah.
And kids that grow up in violent households sometimes, or like unpredictable households, and that's what I had as a kid. They grow up being able to feel everything and be like really tuned in. And so that's actually me. Like I can feel everything. And that is a blessing in some ways now, but it was a curse for most of my life because I was just really sensitive. And, I'd be walking around and just kind of like picking up on everything that's going on around me. But now understanding that and being able to regulate my own nervous system all the time, like really feeding that system. I mean, I'm so obsessed with my breathing. It's crazy. That makes it so that I'm subconsciously very regulated. So that attunement to what's going on around me, now I can control it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I sit across from a patient, I can really understand what they're feeling. And I don't take it on,
Yeah.
but I can hold up a mirror and show them who they are,
Okay.
show them what they're doing and what's working and what's not. But it's allowed me to feel a peaceful relationship. I mean, my dad died 22 years ago.
Wow.
I'm 43. So
Okay.
I've been alive longer without him than with him.
Yeah.
And so I've had to build that narrative as to like what that means and who he is in my life. And I have found healing with that
Mm-hmm.
by healing my own nervous system and finding what's that original wound in me. Everybody's got one. You've got
Yeah.
one. I've got one. Everybody you're listening to this, yeah, you have one.
For
That's one.
sure.
It's there. If I can examine that wound and breathe slowly, deeply, functionally, it tells my nervous system you're safe. Which that's how we heal.
Mm-hmm.
That's what therapy is. I mean, our number 2 referral source are mental health therapists to Academy West.
Really?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Because, they're giving people tools. Talk therapy is great. EMDR, cognitive behavioral therapy, all that. It's really wonderful. And the rubber meets the road in your breathing. Because if I still feel unsafe in my body, whenever that traumatic event comes up or whenever I'm around that person, I haven't completed the cycle.
Yeah.
But if I can instead confront it, it's kind of like saying, okay, let me look at that scary thing, breathe in a way that makes me feel safe. And all of a sudden that gets less scary. And when I repeatedly do that, things get better, things get easier. I'm not stuck anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of being stuck means not being able to move.
Yeah.
And what do we do with our breathing when we're really scared?
Mm-hmm. We hold it in.
Yeah, just tighten right up, right?
Yeah.
But if I can move my breathing, I can actually get myself unstuck. Doesn't happen overnight. It's the same reason that people come to Academy West to prepare for psychedelic experiences.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if somebody's going to have a psilocybin journey or something in that realm where they're going to really expand their consciousness, those can be really scary
Yeah.
because you don't know what's in there, right? It's
Right.
all in your mind, and yet it can be terrifying. But if I'm breathing slowly and deeply and functionally the whole time, not holding, not counting, right? Not box breathing, but really controlling the tools,
Yeah.
it allows for safety. So consistently, people come back with that phrase with like, "Oh my God, I saw this thing and you were there. I really was thinking about my breathing the whole time."
Uh-huh.
That's that's a really high, that's a high good.
Yeah.
We're able to provide that because, ultimately it's the tool they take with them.
Sure.
That's your breathing. Like, I'll say this to patients, like, we're gonna work together for, a few months. but you're going to use these tools for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And the more you use them, the sharper they get.
Sure.
So a lot of times people come back for, like our group classes or our workouts and things like that, just to keep the tools sharp. But it's so delightful for me to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Whether it's something like that where they overcame like a big mental hurdle, or they're saying, yeah, I don't have asthma anymore.
Uh-huh.
It does not happen to me. I don't have that same feeling. Or like I just achieved that big goal that I never thought I could do. Or I finally got some sleep.
That's a big one. I think for most people, that's a huge one.
Yeah. I had one very powerful patient who woke up in the middle of the night with a panic attack like this every night for 55 years
Oh, my goodness.
since Vietnam.
Oh, wow. That's terrible.
Terrible. And
Every night?
every night,
55 years?
55 years. And when we were able to, we made impact on his breathing.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't until we gave him these tools where we said, okay, we're going to teach you how to literally not breathe
Yeah.
for as long as you can,
Uh-huh.
and then breathe in functionally.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine drowning and then coming up and going in the nose, diaphragm first, chest follow, shoulder, stay still. And it wasn't until we did that he finally got sleep. I will never forget when he emailed me the next morning and said that he slept.
Oh, my goodness.
Like that's not physical therapy as I knew it,
No,
but I think it is where the profession can go.
for sure.
PTs,
You've taken it there.
well, you just got to spread that message a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's one person at a time, one conversation at a time. But ultimately, people have been telling physical therapists all their troubles for years.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually in a position where using this, we can really do something about it. It's not just about your neck and your shoulder and your hip and your back, even though your physical therapist using breathing first will improve all those things more than they realize.
Mm-hmm.
It's about like, how do we heal how you feel?
Yeah.
How do we heal how you think?
Yeah.
How do we get you to like literally trust and love yourself differently? It means just understanding your breathing.
Wow. It sounds so simple,
Mm.
so powerful. The beauty is it's in our control. It's in our hands. It's in our body. Like the potential is incredible for any of us.
And then we get to let go.
Most importantly, right?
Yeah, because you get to control it and then you get to let it go.
Yeah.
And do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the coolest part, because if I had to control my breathing all the time, that would be an incredible responsibility.
Yeah.
But instead, I get to trust it. I get to control it, train it, use it, love it, play with it, and then do my thing, let go.
Uh-huh.
And whatever's in there subconsciously will come out.
Okay. So you said just a little bit ago that you think about your breathing a lot during the day. For us who are more new to this, listening to the podcast and want to embrace your words into action, what would your advice be?
The first thing that I had mentioned, which was putting your hand on your diaphragm,
Uh-huh.
that's the most important thing. Another little thing that can be really helpful is listening to what's going on with your breathing.
Okay.
Our inhale, which is supposed to be in the nose, needs to be silent.
Okay.
Okay, like I'm going to get really close to the microphone and see if you can hear me breathe.
Yeah, please.
Basically silent. A lot of times, people make a sound when they inhale. Okay, I'm going to make this sound, okay? This is me inhaling. You hear that a lot in people with lots of neck fat. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes people with vocal cord dysfunction do that. Most of the time, that's not the case. Most of the time, when people make that sound on their inhale, it's because they learned it in yoga. And then they took it into their real life. Now, the people in yoga are not trying to hurt anybody, but they're training people to make that sound so it slows them down.
Okay.
But it's kind of like driving with your parking brake on. It'll totally slow you down. I could drive all the way to Redmond with my parking brake on. I'm just going to screw up my car.
Sure.
And that's exactly what happens. If people restrict, that's a little anatomical structure called my glottis, which is it's a pair of vocal ligaments that are controlled by these little muscles. They're covered in these mucus folds. We call them our vocal cords because it's like way sexier than saying mucus folds. So my glottis needs to be open when I inhale so there's no resistance. And as I exhale, I can use it. I can slow it down. I can make that little whispering sound as I exhale. Or I can make sound. So glottis is fine to use on the exhale.
Okay.
We don't want it on the inhale. So it's
Okay.
almost like you're listening to the silence of your inhale. The only sound you should hear is air moving through your nose.
Got it.
That's fine. But
Okay.
anything that's in there, not useful. So paying attention to my breathing and slowing it down,
Mhm.
not by restricting, but by moving my diaphragm first.
Mhm.
Chest follows. The chest expands after the diaphragm. So if you can feel it like a wave moving from your diaphragm into your chest, great. That may be difficult because the chest is way faster than the diaphragm. It tends to want to move first. My shoulders stay still. Those are the muscles of fear. Those are the muscles of survival. So if I'm using those to breathe, it's sending a signal to my brain that says, tiger. So all that trains itself together. It's sort of hard to separate one,
I understand. Yeah.
but really, if we know what to do and what not to do, that's it. In the nose, diaphragm first, chest follows, shoulders stay still. When it comes to exhale, any way you want to slow down is fine.
Okay.
There's lots of ways to do it. I can slow down making that little whispering sound. I can slow down by using my lips, which is fine, very easy to control, but it also loses a lot of water vapor. And we live in the high desert, so we want to keep that water vapor in our bodies. Plus, if I'm just all the time, I'm going to look kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I was having a hard time getting my kids out the door.
Mhm.
My son goes, "Why are you using your breathing?" Because I'm trying to hold it together, buddy.
So going back to the exhale, the exhale should happen ideally just through the nose, is what you're
Yeah, if
saying?
you can breathe in and out your nose, that's going to be more helpful.
Mhm.
But when you just breathe in and out your nose, it's hard to slow it down. Like you can't really control it. If I just go, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's why we can make that little whispering sound. Like it kind of sounds like a disapproving parent. Okay.
Yeah.
By far, the most powerful thing a human being can do with their exhale is hum.
Mm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. It
Mm.
is using your system to slow you down,
Uh-huh.
and it vibrates your airways, it vibrates your nasal passages, so it moves mucus around the way we need it.
And it stimulates the vagus nerve. I mean,
Exactly. So your vagus nerve, for those that don't know, your vagus nerve is one of the 12 nerves that emanates from your brain, 12 cranial nerves. The term vagus means vagabond. That's where that comes from.
oh, really?
Yeah, so the
Oh, that's
vagus nerve is named vagus because of the word vagabond.
because it
Because it wanders
meanders.
all the way through your body. It wanders from your brain all the way to your groin. And it innervates all the structures of your throat. It innervates into your lungs, and your heart, and your esophagus, and your stomach, and your guts, and your sexual organs, like all of it. All the things that are controlled by this rest, digest, and grow side of the nervous system.
Basically all of us.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the super highway of
uh-huh.
parasympathetic activity.
Right.
So when you hum, it stimulates that. And you can hum like you're singing a song, that's
Yeah.
fine. But what I usually advocate for is this like mid-range that bends to low range. Kind of like I went, ah.
Uh-huh.
Because you know what nobody ever did when they're running away from a tiger? It like tells us we're safe.
Yeah.
And, you think about like people that are deep on the spectrum, like way deep on the spectrum. What are they going to do? They're going to rock and hum.
That's true.
Because it self-soothes.
Yeah.
So if you go out for a run or a walk or you're having sex or whatever, and you want to use your breathing in the nose, diaphragm first, chest follows, shoulders stay still. All that does is gives you a superpower. So we train our runners to do that. Run up Pilot Butte, breathing while you're humming. And it is a completely different experience.
Wow.
So playing those little games, what you're doing, anytime you're putting your breathing first, you're accessing 5 things: physical, chemical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Physically, you're training muscles, every muscle from nose to groin. Chemically, you're manipulating oxygen and carbon dioxide, but you're also turning some of that cortisol, our stress hormone, adrenaline, into oxytocin and dopamine, like feel good, love hormones.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, mental is like what you do with your mind. Emotional is what your mind does with you. Mentally, you're putting your thought machine into the place it needs to go. You're not like darting around being all future past. You're focused right now.
Right.
And emotionally, you breathe how you feel.
Hmm.
Every human emotion lasts maximum 90 seconds.
Really?
Yep.
Had no idea.
So if I can inhale and exhale functionally through those 90 seconds,
I can get through this.
it keeps me from like escalating and going further and further and further.
Yeah.
And spiritually, the word spiritual, this is
Mhm.
kind of a buzzy word. I'm absolutely making this is not religious, okay?
Yeah.
Religious, that's a book or a building or a bank account.
Right. I understand that.
Spiritual is about someone's connection to themselves
Yes.
and to the universe.
Right.
The word spiritual comes from spirit, derived from the Latin word spiritus,
Mm-hmm.
which is Latin for breathing.
Mm.
So if I'm putting my breathing first, even if I'm doing the dishes or walking or going to sleep, I'm engaging in a spiritual practice. I'm deepening my connection to myself and my surroundings. That's why this is a tool to be used, because you train one thing, you actually train all five: physical,
Sure.
chemical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So,
That's beautiful.
oh,
And to think also, it's the first and last thing we do on earth.
exactly. It really is. Like Gigi said, you're only out of breath once.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
It's really empowering to learn that we have such an amazing tool at our disposal whenever, however we want. And it's just to hone into that skill of being conscious of our breathing.
Just takes a little bravery.
Yeah. Where can people and then find you, Andy?
So our clinic is located on the west side of Bend. We're in the ground floor of the Hickson apartment building.
Mm-hmm.
Our address is 210 Southwest Century Drive, Suite G170. We're right across from Bangers and Brews
Uh-huh.
Fire Station.
Yes.
And you can find us on Instagram at academy.west. And our website is academywestperformance.com. And we are eager to help people that are curious, motivated, suffering to unlock their full potential. We do that in individual care. We do that in group classes. And we also have a host of online resources.
Okay.
And it's, if I can say this, it's such a privilege to be able to sit here and talk to you about this.
Uh,
You know, to see where this has gone from when you first came into our clinic,
yeah.
knowing nothing,
Right.
to now coming really full circle to here. It's a real privilege. So I appreciate the opportunity.
No, on the contrary, thank you so much for being here. It's been such a gift to listen to you and really learn from all your work. It's very impressive, everything you've done. I keep on thinking about the young woman, the hospice patient, that was the inspiration and the motivation for you to start Academy West.
Yeah. Her name is Patricia.
Uh-huh.
And who she's who I have in mind every time I talk about this anatomy. I actually have an anatomical model,
Yeah.
and the model is named Patricia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm,
This is
that's how it
without
started.
her,
Yeah.
I'm not here.
Mm,
Without her, I'm still in the ICU.
yeah.
And I don't know where that would have gone, but it took her being brave enough to take a chance that really has unlocked so many things for so many people.
Wow.
I'm grateful. We talked about gratitude.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for Patricia.
Yeah. Me too. Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.